Hey guys, today's video is a first impression wear test on the new, I'll say new in quotations, Estee Lauder Double Wear Light Soft Matte Hydra Makeup. The reason I say new is because Estee Lauder Double Wear Light is not a new concept. It is a foundation that I've used many times in the past, and I think I actually have a super old review on the old formula of this. Or at least I think it's a different formula. I think I need to do more research. So I can't tell if they actually reformulated it or they just added more shades and renamed it. So the last time that I tried the Double Wear Light foundation was probably 3 years ago. I really liked it because it lasted pretty well, just as long as the normal Double Wear, which is a holy grail for people who have oily skin. Why can't I get packaging off ever? And this was really just a lighter weight version of that. I like that it's in a squeezy tube versus the glass bottle that the regular Double Wear comes in, which doesn't even come with a standard pump. You have to buy the pump separately, which is super annoying. You get the full fluid ounce with this, and I paid 50 Canadian dollars, so it would be less dollars in the States. On Sephora, the shade range is literally horrendous, or at least on Sephora Canada. All right, well, this is on the Estee Lauder Canada website, and much better shade range, definitely is going a lot deeper. So just keep that in mind, that the entire shade selection might just not be like at Sephora, but if you ordered it from Estee Lauder, then you would have more to choose from, including a paler shade, which Sephora did not carry. I ended up getting the shade 1N2 Ecru, which in the regular Double Wear is definitely too dark for me. This is the same shade that I got in the Estee Lauder Double Wear Light, the first version, like 3 years ago. And I remember it being like wrong, but okay. So there it is. I mean, it's definitely not a super thin and watery formula. It is thicker. I would argue that it's actually thicker feeling than the regular Estee Lauder Double Wear. Okay, interestingly enough, this formula feels different. I wish I had the old formula, but I totally used up that tube to compare to. But this one feels, I don't know, more hydrating, like not greasy like at all, but there's just something leaves behind like a moisture that I do not remember at all. Okay, so I am going to apply to this side of my face with a brush. This is the Sigma Flat Angled Kabuki. See what kind of coverage we get. By the way, I am not wearing a primer. I just moisturized my skin earlier today. I'm also not going to set this with a powder because I want to see how the oil control factor is on its own. If you guys know my channel, then you know that I have kind of oily skin. I wouldn't say I have severely crazy oily skin, but I'm definitely on the mild to moderate spectrum of oily. I mean, that is very light coverage. With that amount, I think I should add a little bit more. There is a scent to it, though it's not strong. I don't find that the scents in Estee Lauder products bother my skin very much. I do have somewhat sensitive skin, but this doesn't really bother me. It's pretty subtle. It is definitely more hydrating than I remember. I really do feel now that I've tried it that there was a definite reformulation. It feels stickier, like dewier, more hydrating, and I actually feel like I'm getting less coverage than I remember as well. I will link that super old review of the Double Wear Light Original down below in the description if you guys are curious. But this to me does not look or feel the same. That being said, it literally looks so good. It's crazy. Let's get very close here. Literally like skin. Like I have it on this side and I have nothing on this side. Just in terms of like just gently evening out my skin, it literally looks exactly like my skin. I'm gonna do a little bit more on this side because I had to build it up a little bit on the other side. And I'm gonna be using a sponge for this. This is just like a no-name sponge that I got at Winners. So Winners is like owned by TJ Maxx, in case you're in the States and you don't know what Winners is. Actually, do you guys in the US have Winners? Let me know. I'm just curious. I've never been to the States. I've never left Canada land. Little bit less coverage with the sponge. That is to be expected though. The sponge does tend to soak up a little bit of the product. So on both sides, I'm actually going to add just a little bit more. So I wouldn't go so far as to say that this foundation has a glow, but I do feel like there is a natural luminescence that I do not remember in the original formula that I tried 3 years ago. This version looks more like skin and has a tackier feel to it. It just feels a little bit more hydrating. I mean, how beautiful does this look? I am beyond obsessed. I literally can't get over it. However, this doesn't have a lot of coverage, so if that's kind of one of your main priorities, I probably right off the bat wouldn't even go there. I mean, maybe you could build it up even more, but I just don't think it's what it's meant to do. Right now, I feel like this foundation would work best for people who want a lighter, more natural coverage look. I usually can tell pretty quickly when something's going to be fairly long lasting, and this one I really think it's going to, because it really feels like it's adhering to my skin. One negative thing that I can already see, which it's not a big deal, I can just tell that this foundation is probably going to crease. I've got a line here, as well as just my lines here where I smile. I can just already tell that I'm gonna crease there. Maybe it won't get any worse, and I mean, it's obviously not bad at all right now. I just feel like I can start to see a line forming. I mean, that's me being very picky though, because this foundation is literally blowing me away with how it looks. I'm like looking at the foundations on my like main makeup desk right now. Do any of those look as natural and skin-like as this? I don't know, I don't think so. If you guys are interested, I did do a video on my, I think I did top 10 foundations that look like skin, and they do. Don't get me wrong, but this foundation definitely belongs in that video. I wish that I had tried it sooner. So it's a little bit after 11 right now. So the sun goes down at like 6. So I will give an update right before the sun goes down so that you guys can see in decent lighting. And then I will give another update at the end of the night. It'll be in kind of shitty lighting, but hopefully you guys will get the gist. And by the way, it is completely set now. I do not need to, nor would I set this with a powder. Okay, so now I've been wearing the foundation for about 5 hours. I just took my glasses off, so that's kind of what those marks there are. But I have to say, like in the areas where my glasses were, it doesn't feel like greasy or slimy or like gross at all. The foundation looks really good still. It basically looks the same as when I applied it. I have not gotten oily yet. I mean, I have some really, really glowy blush across my nose and on my cheeks. That's not the foundation. I really am not shiny like at all. It doesn't look like it really wore off anywhere. It hasn't broken apart, separated. I would say the only change that I'm seeing from now versus when I first applied it is I'm starting to see the pores on my nose now. It's almost like they were blurred when I first applied it, but now, I mean, it doesn't look bad. It just, I can kind of see my pores a little tiny bit. The only thing that I can think of that lasts as well as this Estee Lauder Double Wear Light is the original Estee Lauder Double Wear, and this I love, don't get me wrong. It has way more coverage than the light version. This tends not to look as great on my skin throughout the day because it is so much heavier. It is more noticeable when things start to, I don't know, shift, separate, whatever. So I am just loving this. I've been wearing this foundation for 10 hours. The first thing I want to point out is the glasses. There is like no foundation residue on my glasses, which is actually unheard of. The marks on my nose from wearing glasses literally for 10 hours. Like since I did this video, I've been wearing the glasses and you can barely see the glasses marks. Like I'm so impressed by that. In terms of like how the foundation looks, I don't think it really wore off that much. It really like held on to my blush very well. I would say in like the last hour or two, I started to like feel the foundation on my face just because my oils were starting to kind of produce. So it just makes everything on my face feel a little bit heavier. But I have not blotted or touched up. So I have a clean blotting sheet right here. So let's see how much oil I accumulated over the course of 10 hours. Ta-da! That is literally like nothing. I can usually soak through one of these by the end of the night if I haven't touched up. I'm so impressed with this foundation. The oil control is so good. The staying power, so good. I mean, that creasing that I mentioned before, like it never got worse than that. I am so excited to keep trying this and I would absolutely recommend this foundation to like everyone. I feel like even if you have maybe like a more normal, maybe even like kind of dry skin, like if you're looking for something to last like all day or all night, like maybe you would really like this. Like I said, I do feel like there is some kind of hydration factor in this new formula that I just don't feel like was in the old one. If in fact they did do a reformulation, which I really think they did. Anyway guys, that is the end of this video. I hope that this helps you out. You can always subscribe to my channel if you want to make sure not to miss any more videos from me. I put out new ones every single week. I love you guys so much and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you.